your boy, it's your boy Kengi, hashtag Mr. Tell the Truth. Woke up about 12:38 this morning. Still in the book of Jeremiah. This time I ended up going to Jeremiah chapter 28 all the way to 30. 28 all the way to 30. And one thing I realized about Jeremiah, those chapters, is Jeremiah the prophet. He was trying to educate us on, be aware of the false prophets. They always focus on deviation and dreamers. Focus on deviation. If you don't know what deviation is, go look it up. False prophets been in the world for years. They caused God's people, the children of Israel, to rebel against God and worship their gods. And I ask that question is, who are the ones that caused God's people? Who are God's people? And how do we go about discovering who is God's people and who is them and they in the Bible? See, the problem is we've never been educated on the truth. The truth of the matter of fact is God's people are the seeds of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God's people are not the ones that the seeds that Esau. See, God hated Esau, but he loved Jacob. Because Esau had hate in his heart from Canaan. See, it all goes back to the beginning when Cain and Abel was in that field, in the land of the free. Abel was doing exactly what God created him to do. He was the shepherd of the flocks. He was over the animals. Cain was the tiller man. He was over the till of the ground and watched the crops grow. He felt so much hate in his heart because God chose his gift over his gift. And he decided to slew Abel out there in the land for no reason, because of the hate that's in his heart. So, fast forward that time to Esau and Jacob. We're in the days and times of Esau and Jacob today, because I got it written down. I got it in every scripture you can think of. This thing needs to be taught to the whole world, because scripture is written in a book. And I don't care how many times they try to rewrite it. I don't care how many times they try to put their own doctrine on it. God gonna raise up a true prophet and teach him the truth so he can lead God's people to the Jacob's tent. And they gonna come together in a congregation and sing Zion songs to the living God. Now that's in the scripture. If you don't believe it, why do you think the famine is in the country of the United States? Why do you think the famine is in the country of the Chinese, Japanese, Greece, Brazil, Russia? The famine is all over the world. All of this is in scripture, but they never taught you this. So you don't understand the judgment and the statutes of God, the living God, because they taught you to think what you want, what they want you to think. They taught you to focus on the history that was created by them. I've told you, you better find out who is they and them. They taught you the history that was created by their ancestors. I told you to study history. Study the truth. The Bible is the history book of the people that God has chosen for his children to enter into the promised land and free themselves from Egypt. Point blank. So their history book, which is the Bible, have been captured by the most hated ones that hate the Lord. So they know exactly what ways to manipulate God's people to keep them from seeing the promised land. They know exactly what schemes of the devil they can use to make sure God's people don't see the promised land. See, God don't never go back on his word. And they know his word gonna be fulfilled. Heaven and earth gonna pass away, but the word gonna stay here. So in other words, you got to find out who are these people that's over the system. Who are these people that's taught all the doctrine that you see? Who are these people that have been over the world since the beginning, controlling the way man should live on earth, starting their own government. God said you're never supposed to have a rule over you if you're chosen by him to be one of his people. See, the problem I've realized is I finally got to the point where most of us that look like one another are not chosen by God. Most of us might have the same skin tone, but not chosen by the Lord. I had to come to grips with that, because when you talking to the one that be judged and want to be pleased by man based on things that they see, they got two eyes that they see out of. And Jesus said you should have singleness, means one, that you should see out of. One God, one word, one gospel, and one doctrine. So if you don't know the principles and the laws and the statutes and the judgment of the Lord, which is the living God, the one and only, this message ain't for you. See, I understand now that only the ones supposed to eat this word, don't get full off meat and bread alone, are the ones that are willing to fast secretly for the Lord, not for man. See, the ones that want to fast for man, this word ain't for them. Even though they might be your brother, sister, mother, auntie, or uncle, someone in your family, this word ain't for them. So God said, let the ones that have ear, let them hear. The ones that don't want to hear, let them go in their imaginations of their own doctrine with their forward thinking. They gonna lead themselves into destruction. I don't have to judge you. The judgment is already built in. It's written in scripture. If you understand the judgment and statutes and the laws that God told his people to obey as they walk the face of the earth, I don't have to worry about what you say. You gonna lead your own self to hell. You will never see the gates of the kingdom. So in other words, Jeremiah, back to Jeremiah. Jeremiah ran up on a false prophet named Hananiah. He was telling the people one thing, that he saw his own doctrine from some type of deviation or sorcery or witchcraft. You sit there and play with those globes and palm reading. You got all these tarot cards. God says stay away from that crap. Don't believe in magic. But we sit right over here and teach our kids magic is real. The fakest thing, that the most hatred thing that you can do is cause abomination to your soul if you fool with it. But they never tell you the truth. They advertise all the things that they want you to see so you can be distracted, so they can plant seeds on your mind so you won't see the promised land. Every advertisement is a seed based on what they want you to see when you're watching television. You got to be careful with this. I say turn the TV off and don't listen to no more music. Study that word, because you're going to need it. If you think the world is always what it is based on what you see, you ain't got the Holy Ghost yet, buddy. Just because you jump around in the building that was created by man on every corner, even by a liquor store, to worship the living God, I don't think so. Because the scripture said God will bring up a prophet from Jacob, and he will lead his people to the tent, and they will become a congregation and multiply and become many and sing Zion songs to him. And every nation will lead a beaten path to their door. You better hear me. So how do you tell me that these buildings that we call church are the places we supposed to go to worship the living God when it's 50 on one corner and 100 on the other, and we all teaching the doctrine from the theologian of the Catholic Church? I said it. Wrong way of thinking. The Pope worships nothing but the Son and the devil. Got Caesar Boards as a picture of Jesus, knowing that joker was gay. He said, don't put no image of me. I am whatever you want me to be. That's what he told Moses. But this message ain't for the ones that don't want to eat the word. This is for the ones that want to get fat off meat and love bread. So keep eating. Watch what's going to happen. You ain't got to fast secretly for the Lord. You ain't got to eat this word. Walk the face of the earth based on your forward thinking. Retire. and pass away. And I'm out. Kengi. Hashtag Mr. Tell Truth. Peace.